you're unlucky. But thank you folks for joining us tonight. My name is Tyler Lussier. I serve as one of our Associate Deans of Admission here in the Office of Admission at Bates. Actually in my office for one of the first times in the last 6 months. So happy to greet you all from Bates. But thank you for joining us for tonight's Bobcat chat that's centered on clubs and organizations. I'm joined by a handful of incredible students who are going to talk a little bit about their experiences, their clubs and organizations specifically. But hopefully tonight is driven by your questions. So to orient yourself with the program, you'll notice at the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A button. If you click on that, you'll actually open up a Q&A box where you can ask us questions in live time. And so I'll be monitoring that throughout the night. Feel free at any point in time to throw in any questions, and I'll throw it to our panelists to answer. Also, you'll notice at the bottom of your screen is a raise your hand tool. Looks like we just got one more, so we're out of 13 and at 14. So using that raise your hand tool, just to get a sense of students in the room, can you raise your hand if you are currently in your senior year? All right, looks like 9 out of the 14. And how many of you are currently, or 10, all right. How many of you are currently juniors? Okay, just a handful. And do we have any parents joining us tonight? Okay, we got some honest parents. Sometimes they try to hide. Well, thank you for everyone attending. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Tyler. I serve as one of our associate deans. I actually work specifically with students who are from the Northern California region, the entire state of Connecticut, and then I also cover Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and now the Middle East and Northern Africa. I used to be the liaison for all of Europe, and we've transitioned a little bit. So if you cover, or if you are from any of those regions or attend school in any of those regions, you work with me directly. But this should be hopefully the most you hear from me all night. I'm going to let our students introduce themselves. And then again, after everyone's introduced themselves and their clubs or organizations, we're really excited to answer your questions. So again, start to think about what you might want to ask, and feel free to throw it in the Q&A function at the bottom. But I will call on the students just because I know I've got a lot of faces looking at me and I don't want them all to wonder who's going next. So starting with the top person on my screen, Bridget, would you like to kick us off?
Hi everyone, super excited to be here tonight. My name is Bridget Thompson. I'm a junior, so class of 2022. I'm from Newtown, Pennsylvania, and I found Bates, fortunately, because I get to play field hockey here, but that's kind of just an added bonus. I fell in love with how beautiful this school is, particularly in the fall, and it's a nice distance from home, let's just say that, I'm kidding. And here I'm here to talk about the club that I'm involved in, particularly the most on campus, and I'm Vice President of Special Olympics Club. So we're all about finding ways to engage special needs individuals from the local Lewiston Auburn community in fun and engaging ways. So it looks a lot different right now with COVID, but we've still found really great ways to let them know that they're a community that we really care about, and to make them feel as if we Bates students are always there for them as a source of support.
And I realize now they're waiting for me to call. I already missed my own cue. Jake, would you like to go next?
Yeah, definitely. So hi guys, my name is Jake. I'm from outside of Philadelphia. Go Birds. I found Bates by, I have a, my family has a summer home up in Maine, so I've been coming up every summer since I was a kid. And then one year on the way back from Maine, we decided, hey, let's we should stop at some schools. How about Bates? And I was like, okay, let's stop at Bates. I really ended up really liking it, and the rest is history. So here I am. The organization I'm representing tonight is the Robinson Players, which is our student-run theater group on campus.
Awesome. And then next, Nicole.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm a senior and I'm an international student from Zimbabwe, and I found Bates through through a college fair actually back in Harare, Zimbabwe. So one of the students who was home for summer, I met her at a college fair and she talked about Bates. Then I actually applied early decision and was excited to, so when I came to Bates, it was actually the first time I was visiting campus, or at least attending campus. So that's been fun. So I'm here to talk about Africana Club, which is a club at Bates That is, our main goal is to encourage students who would want to talk about life in the African diaspora and on the African continent. So we hold educational activities, we hold talent fairs, and we also connect among students and faculty, and also have people come talk about various issues relating to the African continent and the African diaspora.
Thank you, Nicole. I changed my background in direct retaliation to Jake's note to the Birds of Philadelphia. We are a school in Maine, so I'm going to say we're pro New England sports. Joshua, could you please go next?
Hello, my name is Joshua Red. I'm a senior here at Bates. I got to Bates because I first did prologue. I was choosing between Bates College and Colby College. I only really visited Bates out of all of the schools on my list, and I really liked it, and I liked the people that I met here. So like I said, I did prologue. I applied ED, and then I found out that I got into Bates come December 2017. I am the co-president of the Black Student Union, and we essentially encourage all of our members to be more politically involved and politically engaged, whether that's with national politics, local politics in Maine, or even with different political events and social issues on campus and off campus as well. So.
Awesome. And Sophie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophie, and I'm a senior from New York City. I chose to come to Bates because when I was in high school, I knew that I was interested in going to a liberal arts college and just really liked the community engaged learning opportunities that Bates offered, and also just its location in Lewiston, like as the second largest city in Maine, but then also access to outdoor opportunities was something that really appealed to me. And tonight I'm representing the ultimate Frisbee teams at Bates. So yeah, happy to answer any questions about club sports. I didn't even know that Frisbee was a sport before coming to Bates, and have really learned so much through the team, and have found it to be an incredibly supportive environment. So looking forward to talking with you all tonight.
All right, and Dylan.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Dylan. I'm from San Francisco, California. I'm here tonight with two clubs, actually. I couldn't choose one. I'm the president of our Feminist Collective. We hold space on campus to speak about identity politics, campus culture, social and racial justice. We like to eat cookies and drink chai and hang out. And I'm also here as the community liaison for the Bates Outing Club. We're one of the oldest and largest clubs on campus, celebrating our 100-year anniversary this year. And we like to do anything and everything outside in Maine. So really excited to be here tonight and answer questions about those two clubs.
And then last but not least, Armaan, sorry.
Hey everyone, I'm Armaan. I'm a senior from India. And the main reason I found Bates was actually through the 3-2 engineering program, which you can essentially spend 3 years at Bates or 4 years at Bates, and then transfer to an affiliated school to do engineering and get 2 degrees out of it, essentially. I'm here representing 2 clubs as well, technically. I'm former president of club soccer for about 1.5 years, and I'm currently on the board of Bollywood Club as well. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions, and yeah, great.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourselves and introducing your clubs. Folks, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, please take advantage of the Q&A button you'll notice at the bottom of your screen. And feel free to throw in any and all questions, whether it's for a specific club and organization or for any of the students that you'd like to know a little bit more about. So again, please feel free to ask questions there. I am going to throw one softball question really to everyone that hopefully you can talk about your individual clubs and organizations. As far as it relates to during the traditional academic year, I know that this year has been rather unique, but during a more traditional academic year, can you talk maybe about the number of times that your club may meet, what it looks like during the year, and events that you might hold, and so that they can gain a sense as to what level of engagement, what type of accolades you might be awarded, and just what it looks like during the traditional school year for your club and organization. And we'll go in reverse this time. And so Armaan, you want to kick us off this time?
Sure. So just talking about a bit more about club soccer. So we essentially meet 2 to 3 times a week. It's non-mandatory. Practice is non-mandatory. We usually have pickup sessions throughout the week, just to get just actually start playing a bit. And during the fall semester and actually short term, we try to organize games within the community, with Bowdoin, with Colby, all of their club teams, maybe a few varsity teams nearby. And like I said, participation is not mandatory. We encourage anyone to turn up when they feel like. And yeah, it's just about getting a nice collective and a nice group of people just to help them meet new people and just get a friendly game of football going, really, or soccer.
Thank you. Dylan?
So I'll start with FemCo, Feminist Collective. We meet bi-weekly. We normally just like to hang out, talk. Every once in a while we do what we call our action items. So every year we have Maine family planning abortion advocacy trainings. This week we're doing a lot of phone banking for local elections. And this year we're actually doing something really exciting where we're doing a semester-long book reading of a book called Antagonizing White Feminism by Dr. Noelle Chaddick, who is the Vice President of Equity and Inclusion at Bates. So we're looking forward to that. They're right here at Bates, really easy to speak with and talk to. So that's going to be a really awesome opportunity this semester for us. And Bates Outing Club looks super different. We basically come out with a monthly schedule that will have all of our trips and things that we're planning on for the schedule. I will say that the listserv is the primary way to get things done with the outing club. A lot of students at Bates are on the listserv, and basically somebody will just put in the listserv, I'm going hiking today at 2. I have 4 spots in my car. Who wants to come? Text me. So it's pretty informal. And a lot of the trips that we do are a little bit more planned than that. All of our leaders are wilderness first aid certified. And during the first semester at Bates, we try and lead at least 2 beginning introductory only trips in any sort of activity. So we always do intro surfing, intro climbing, intro skiing when it gets cold. We want people to come to Bates and learn new things, not just keep doing the things they already did. So that's a little bit about the outing club. If you want to check out one of our sample schedules, we have schedules from pre-COVID up on our website. So you can check out Bates Outing Club and check out a normal schedule of trips for us.
Awesome. Sophie?
So during a typical fall, the Frisbee team would have practice around 4 days a week, and it's not mandatory at all. You can kind of come and go as you choose. And the focus in the fall is on training new players, teaching them about the sport, because like typically most people don't come into college having played Frisbee before. We also in the fall have a lot of fun social events to integrate new members, including like going apple picking together, stuff like that. And then in the winter is our competitive season. So we divide into an A and B team. I'm actually one of the captains of the B team, and it continues to be a really informal, casual environment where we get to usually like scrimmage Bowdoin and Colby and other nearby schools. And then our A team is pretty competitive, and they've been to nationals the last 4 years. So that's one of the things I like about the team, that no matter what commitment level you have or like what your skill level is, there is a place for you on our team.
Awesome. And Josh?
Yes, so much of the work that we've been doing at Bates thus far, at least with this year, we've started a lot of that starting in March when we had to leave campus abruptly. We took advantage of the fact that people needed a lot of help and resources, and we were reaching out to the wider Bates community, but of course, a plethora of our students who also come from marginalized communities and come from structurally deprived areas as well. Those of whom were affected in disproportionate and in unique ways because of this virus and because of the mishandling of the virus as well. And recently, our work has looked like, really just addressing a lot of the rampant divisions that are going on all over the country, having these candid and clear conversations about race and about race and white supremacy and colonialism, all of these different important and relevant, frameworks and theoretics that are central to how we even understand some of the most contemporary political issues that we see ourselves with today. And a lot of our other work on campus, we've been really connecting with first years a lot, who are especially, looking for people to talk to and looking for guidance and looking for just community that's a kind of harder to create, you know, given that like nobody wants to catch COVID and we have to be safe. But that doesn't erase the fact that we still also need to be ensuring that we're creating space and holding space for people who have never been to Lewiston, Maine before, period. And so we've been doing a lot of club meetings via virtual. We've been doing some like impromptu in-person 6 feet apart mixers with first years. We've been posting videos and introductions of different first years, just from a range of classes of first year, sophomores, seniors, just letting people get to know each other in different ways that this virus and the subsequent public health measures that we have to take are forcing us to reimagine and rethink how we bridge engagement and foster community still. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Joshua. And then Nicole?
Yeah, I would say Africana, our main purpose is to bring the dialogue to campus, because we notice that students join Africana for like coming from different experiences. So for some students, it's actually their first time in the US. So it's the first time they're navigating on like a different experience in terms of race, identity. And for some students, they are connecting with these students as well. So we create a space to just have dialogue on the African experience in the diaspora. And we also partner with clubs such as the International Club, the Caribbean Students Club, the Black Students Union, and Latinos Unidos, and Sangha Asia as well. So like we partner with other affinity groups on campus to also engage in this dialogue and to also learn from each other, and also create the space where we get to connect across class years and also to connect across clubs. And we also tend to have dances and dances which are also combined. And we also, our biggest event is the Africana Night that happens in the winter semester, where we have a fashion show and we have various, so we have a fashion show, which is different acts that happen throughout that night. Then, yeah, I guess that's most about it.
Thank you, Nicole. And Jake?
Yeah, so the Robinson Players do a lot of different plays, musicals throughout the year. One of my favorite things about the Robinson Players is there's all sorts of different ranges and levels of commitment in the club. So we have, for example, the 24-hour musical, which is at the start of the fall semester each year, in the middle of September, basically. We have a bunch of people from Robinson Players, just whoever wants to come and audition shows up to 24-hour musical auditions. Audition, everyone gets in, people get assigned different roles, and we basically have 24 hours from the time we audition to when we perform the play. So it's just like a hectic day of learning dance numbers, learning songs, and figuring out some blocking. And then it's really fun to put it on the next night for the Bates community. And obviously, 24 hours, you're not going to have a perfect show. So, you know, we always make sure to pick something kind of goofy so we can sort of spice it up, make it super funny. Last year we did a rendition of Finding Nemo, the musical. It was sort of like student created. We picked songs from the public domain and put them in there. It was really fun. We also have the murder mystery night each semester. We also have one act each semester, where basically like 5 to 10 minute short plays with 2 to 3 students in them, and each one has a director. And each semester we have a main stage production. So these are, you know, your bigger, more long-term, heavier commitment plays. And in the winter, the main stage production is the winter musical. Last year they did the 24th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and that was great to see. After I didn't end up doing that one afterwards, I was really blown away. I was like, wow, I wish I had done that. It looked like so much fun. And we also have short-term musical during short term, which is super intense, an intensive experience during the 5 weeks of short term, where you learn, you know, get a musical done, and then at the end you perform it for the Lewiston Elementary School kids. They take buses into on to Bates and watch us perform the musical for them. And it's super fun to do that. Obviously, I didn't get to do that this past year with COVID, but looking forward to that in the future. We also have monthly meetings and a listserv to sort of communicate and go through what's coming up next in the club. And this semester, we're doing sort of outdoor socially distanced meetings in the amphitheater at Bates, which is a really nice outdoor space to have right now for clubs to be able to communicate. And we're also, our main stage production this fall is a radio play. We're basically, we're going to release it into a podcast format where it's just speaking out. I can't remember the name exactly of the musical, but it's a classic Greek drama from, way back in the day. And that's our main stage production. So just sort of, that'll be coming out in November in 2 or 3 different segments. So yeah, that's a little bit about what we do in the Robinson Players.
And last but not least, Bridget.
Yeah, so I'd say Special Olympics is pretty flexible too, commitment-wise, depending on what you're particularly interested in and how much extra time you have as a student. But we typically have weekly practices, and those range in what sport we're actually playing on the season. So typically we're playing soccer with some special needs individuals in the fall, and then typically winter has basketball, and then spring could be any number of things. And then in the midst of those like weekly practices, we tend to have some larger scale events that are like bi-monthly or every month. We've done things like a really fun Jeopardy night was awesome. We've supported them playing at like halftime games for like men's soccer and men's basketball, and it's great because they have like a really fun audience watching and a lot of Bates students cheering them on. And we've also hosted field days where local elementary school kids come who have special needs, and we get to hang out with them and play fun games in one of our larger all-purpose buildings on campus. It's definitely a lot of fun ways to get involved, whether or not you're practicing weekly or you're just attending the larger events, but there's no like prior experience that's needed to get involved with the club, and we're super welcoming and open to everyone. And in this new context with COVID, we're still finding really fun ways to stay involved and stay engaged. So we actually piloted a pen pal program that's kind of taken off, where Bates students are writing to individuals from the John F. Murphy home in Lewiston, Auburn. And we're also, this Saturday, we're doing an outdoor mask decorating event where Bates students can decorate a mask themselves, and then they can also send one of these masks to one of our friends in the community. So it's been definitely an obstacle that we've had to face, but I think that I'm really proud to see how all Bates clubs and organizations are finding really creative ways to keep going and really fun ways too.
That's awesome. Well, thank you all for humoring me. Also, there was one question. Do you find that kids actively participate or are excited about them? I would probably venture to say that since I have all of these wonderful folks with me at 7:30 on a school night to just talk to you about their clubs and organizations, I hope that demonstrates some sort of commitment and excitement, and they are the real MVP. So I think that answers that question. And I think with over 100 clubs and organizations at Bates, and with so many students engaged across the board, it is something that our students can really find a home in a variety of different ways, try something new, and really find the right fit. So I certainly think, again, being with me at 7:30 at night, and they're all still awake and ready to go, says a lot. But I would say I'm going to throw this to the group, and if you want to raise your hand if you feel comfortable taking this on first, because I can see all of you. How easy is it to get involved with clubs and organizations when you start as a freshman? Can someone kind of walk me through when you first get to Bates, what it looks like and how do you get engaged? Bridget, you want to take it?
Yeah, sorry, Dylan. I think Dylan's intro would be great too. But what's really great is that Bates typically has, at the beginning of each semester, a clubs and orgs fair, where all clubs and organizations on campus, I mean, typically it's everyone. We have over 100 on campus, which is crazy. They all set up their table and kind of explain a bit about like what they're doing as a club, some activities that they have throughout the year, and like ways you can get involved. And you just kind of circle around all these tables. It usually happens in like a large all-purpose space, or this year we had it outdoors. It was beautiful. It's a great way to kind of just peruse like what's out there club wise, and it's not really overwhelming at all because all the students like running each table are representing the club and they really like are passionate about it, so they'll take the time to speak with you. And then in terms of getting involved, typically, I don't know exactly if this is the same, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but typically we collect like a student's class year, name, and email address, and then we'd add them to the listserv. And the listserv is like this large email group basically. So if I were president of a club, I could access this email group, and every time I wanted to get out an announcement about my club or like explain an event that we have going on or just communicate something in a large scale, I would send an email out from this listserv. And then if you have signed up to be a member of the club, you'd be getting that email frequently whenever they are sent out. So I think the clubs and org fair and the listservs are like two really crucial ways that first years can get involved right off the bat, but people feel free to add in anything else.
Bridget, I think they're comfortable. I think you nailed it. So a lot of ways to get acclimated out of the gate. I have another question. Armaan, this one looks like it might be a quick one for you. I don't know if you know about Top Soccer, but I had a student who said, I have been involved with Top Soccer. Is club soccer in any ways kind of like that? I don't
I'm not too familiar with Top Soccer, but I can expand a bit more on club soccer itself because I didn't go into as much detail as I should have initially. But as we mentioned earlier, it's not commitment is not mandatory or required, and it's just a lot of pickup sessions going around with whoever wants to turn up on that given day. But on the side, to talk about the community a bit more, we try to involve the community as much as possible in terms of games, because we usually try to plan games within the community. So just have more interaction within the community, and it's a lot of fun. We do that during short term as well as during the fall semester. I don't know how well that answers the question, but yeah, that's a bit more of an insight into club, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So this is more of a poll, I think, to folks. So please, if you've got one that meets this criteria, please raise your hand. But someone's asking about the most unique club on campus. And all of you are unique in your own ways in these clubs, but is there a quirky one that comes to mind immediately? I know I've presented with Dylan before, and we've talked about, and I know I don't know it right offhand, but I believe it is like a hot air balloon or a space, they measure weather temperature. That's one that comes to mind, but if other folks have quirkier ones, we're all ears.
Isn't there like a club on campus where like they eat pizza or something? It's like a food competition club, or it was something like that. I don't know the name of the club, but they always have like these free boxes of pizza at like every club fair. And I know that eating is like one of their things. I don't necessarily know if they only eat pizza, if they do like a food competition, eating competition thing, but that's the one that came to mind for me.
I believe it is called Fat Cats, and it is the competitive group. We are the Bobcats, folks, just so you know. And that is just a knock on themselves because they eat a lot of food as quickly as they possibly can. Dylan, can you explain what I'm butchering it, what the balloon measurement club was? I know one of our students was a part of that.
Yes, absolutely. We have a close friend in the student employees and admissions world who is part of the hot air ballooning club, in which he and I think a lot of his other physics major friends basically send hot air balloons up into the world, and a day later they get in the car and they like somehow drive around all of New England, and they somehow, using GPS and physics and all sorts of other things, find the hot air balloon wherever it landed in New England. So that's pretty ridiculous. That was also my immediate first thought at the most unique club at Bates. I also have known this person, Christopher, for all 4 years at Bates, and I never knew about this club until he was on an admissions panel with me and he was talking about it. So it's like a secret hobby of his, maybe.
Love it. All righty. Nicole, I know you talked about some dances that were a part of your club and organization. So maybe I can throw this question your way, but it says, where do students go to dance and socialize? I know dances can be a popular thing at Bates outside of just the program you mentioned. So can you talk about socializing and maybe even some of the dances that Bates holds?
Yeah, I guess with the dances, like most in the winter semester, most of the affinity clubs put out performances, and I would say the preparations for the performances are actually a social event in the sense that you can audition, so you don't necessarily have to be part of a certain club as long as you want to participate. They usually have auditions, so you can go and by audition, it means like just show interest, and then you can work together in getting a position, and then that's how you get to dance with the club. And in addition to that, I'm going to speak to like the Bates dances. I don't know if it was the same thing they're talking about. So like at Bates, we have the decade dances. So there's the 80s dance and the 90s dance. And I think I'm missing the other two. But yeah, so for example, with the 80s dance, people dress as if they were in the 80s. So it's a very fun Saturday night where it's more than just the actual dance, but the outfits are really fun because everybody's so excited to show their outfit. Or we also have a Halloween dance. So like that's fun, and it's a safe space. Staff will be there, and it's like it's staff, so the staff will be there, and there's also food, and it starts around. There's no alcohol as well, so it's like a space where anybody can get involved, and they are hosted by the school. The clubs as well. We also throw host parties as well. So like also host dances with a certain theme. So sometime we had, so there was once a Rep Your Flag with the women of color. So like there are different dances also that are put in with affinity groups towards a certain theme.
Perfect. And so I did have one, it seems like I get this question a lot on the road, and they're asking here, but how easy is it to potentially start a club? I don't know if anyone here has had any experience with starting a club or joined a newly developed club, but can someone talk about how you would start a new club, what that process looks like, and how easy it might be?
I can start that. Sorry, I can start that. I myself and a friend, we started a club I think when we were sophomores or freshmen. And I think the process is more so pretty simple. I believe you fill out this form and you include like the name of the club that you would want to, like what would you want to name the club? If you want to name it like Post-its or something, you can name it like Post-its, whatever. And then you include like your reasoning for why you want this club to be, like what is the purpose of this club? Who will this club serve? Is there some sort of like political mission behind the beginning of this club? And if so, then what is it? So it's just very like, you have to be very specific about your intentions as to why you want to start this club. It doesn't have to be something serious. It could be something like silly or unique, as they say. And you can go, and then another aspect of it as well is as soon as you have all of that stuff together and you have like, this is what my club's name is, this is what my club is about, you then look for potential members. So because you need like, of course you need like an e-board. So you need yourself, your vice president, your secretary, and all those other positions, but then you also just need some beginning members of the club as well to like let people know that like this is the first day of our meeting and we have people confirmed to come that are actually a part of our club so that they can actually like be a club and have people there, right? And finding the members of the club and finding the leaders. But then it's also an aspect of it where you have to think about like your budget. You have to write down like, this is how much money we suspect that our club would need. And then based on well, this is another process as well. So you write down like your budget, all that stuff. And then you go before a specific committee. I forgot the name of it. It's probably something with like the words club and committee in it, or club and board in it. I forgot the name of it. But you go before like the basically a student-run committee that's in charge of confirming clubs and letting them become of a part of the Bates' official club directory. And they essentially ask you questions. Like it's not like they're like asking a bunch of hard and crazy questions. It's like, you know, can you just explain what your club is, why you want it to be? And then also you have to justify your budget. And they also would adjust your budget for you as you're going through going through the confirmation process. So if you suggest $200 for your budget for the semester or something of that nature, they will be like, maybe you need like $100. And if you need 200, then we can look for some extra funding. Like you can apply for extra funding, and stuff of that nature. And even though that sounds pretty like drawn out, it truthfully didn't take us that long. Like it probably took us a couple of weeks to really get it confirmed. And then the people that we met with were very nice, and they were very like accepting of what our club came to be. And I just feel like as long as you're not suggesting nothing that's like too out of the ordinary, like too quirky or too like, you know, just out there, out of the realm of what we do at a liberal arts institution, I think that for the most part, the process is pretty simple and pretty just easy, in my experience at least.
Thank you, Joshua. The acronym is Budgets and Clubs Board as a part of the Bates College Student Government. So I included the link for folks that you could see where the application process is. So it looks like we got a few final questions here. I know one student was asking about community engagement or service clubs, opportunities to tutor kids in the area. Just as a part of the education program, I believe students in each term are putting in 30 hours in the classroom. Not to mention half of our student body will be taking courses that require community engagement as a part of the curriculum each and every single term. And so community engagement is a huge part of who we are. Just answer that question quickly for folks. And then a question about club sports. How easy is it to get involved in club sports? Do we have a lot of them? I know Armaan leading one of the club sport groups. Do you just want to talk about maybe the depth of programming there?
Sure. So it's very easy, very simple to get involved in club sports because I know as a first year it can be pretty daunting walking onto like a club activity, especially even a sport. But it's very simple. Everyone's very accepting, and usually at the start there are a bunch of ice-breaking sessions just to get to know everyone. And after that, like I said, it's very non-committal. So it's not like if you don't turn up 1 or 2 days, then people start getting on you. It's whenever you feel like turning up, whenever you feel like playing. It's just more of a nice environment of people who just want to play the said sport. So yeah, it's a very welcoming environment with not too much commitment required.
Awesome. All righty, and then we do have one question about a specific group here. What kind of LGBTQ plus clubs or organizations does Bates have? Do any folks want to talk about that as we think about identity groups at Bates? Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, great question. So I can just name two. We have Outfront, which is our LGBTQ plus affinity club that's on campus, and we also have Spark Peer Mentors, and Spark Peer Mentors are housed in the OIE, which is our Office of Intercultural Education, and they're basically just students that go to Bates that are really excited about speaking with other students. They hold office hours, and I think they're generally really accessible, really easy to talk to. So Spark Peer Mentors, Spark with a Q at the end, and Outfront are two that come to mind immediately.
Awesome, thank you, Dylan. And I believe this last question here might actually be directed right at you again. I know the Outing Club is very popular. Actually, this is for any other folks. Are there any other clubs that students really like? For this question, I think I'll actually punt this back and say that, you know, with over 100 plus, I think the key isn't necessarily about certain clubs being the most popular. I think our hope is that students really are able to find a fit. And to find a welcoming community where, whether it's from the identity groups to different organizations to club sports, that students can just find a space where they can be comfortable. I know somebody asked about joining multiple clubs. I'm sure most of you are on multiple clubs. Some of you are representing multiple clubs tonight. And so again, I wouldn't really focus in on the popularity of different clubs, but really all about being able to be nimble. So clubs may change, students may bring on new clubs, but also it's really about fit and finding kind of your space here at Bates, and whatever that may be. But just with an eye on time, I know I promised these students about 30 to 45 minutes. I've now held them for 43 on a school night. And so I am just incredibly grateful for the students who joined us this evening, many of which have joined us for multiple programs. So thank you. And then to our guests, please continue the conversation, whether you are a senior, as many of you are, or a junior, or even a parent. Bates.edu/visit, where you found this program tonight. You'll notice we offer information sessions, virtual tours, which are actually live guided virtual tours where a current student will actually bring you through the virtual tour, programs like the Bobcat chats that we're currently hosting, the Bates College Instagram page, and even just the website. If you're interested in a given club, major, website's got a lot of great information, so we hope that you'll continue to follow up. So folks, that's our program for this evening. Please feel free to exit the room at your own leisure. And I ask the students if you could just hang tight for just a moment as we let folks leave, just so we can wrap up as everyone goes. But thank you so much and have a great evening, folks.